Hello and welcome A-League fans to another episode of the A-League Download presented by Isuzu Ute. Another thrilling weekend in the A-League. Chris Long with an absolute peach at the buzzer for Brisbane. Perth Glory get their third win in a row and maybe the best ending we have ever seen to a New Zealand derby in its existence. I'm your host, Jake Barker-Daish, and as always joined by two-time World Cup appearance. Man, Thomas Sorensen over there and former Melbourne Victory A-League champion, Rashid Mahazi. Welcome back to you, sir.
Good to be here, guys.
Yeah.
I just found out about this, by the way, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, obviously, the draw for the World Cup, we'll comment on that later.
Yeah, just the silent, humble flex from Thomas just before we jumped on air. But as always, Download fans, we are going to get into some bangers of the weekend, some great goals, as we always see across the A-League, but none better, potentially, than this one out at Auckland in the derby. Alex Rufer, Rashid, he's been a great player for them for a long time. What a sweet hit this was.
I actually have been saying for the last couple of years that he's one of the most underrated players in the league, I think. Obviously, he shows it here, but I think in most games he controls a lot of what they do. He controls the tempo of the game. He rarely makes stupid mistakes. I think he's a very good player. He's got a father that played for FC Zurich as well, so.
Yeah, and I love the celebration. You know, again, this is what you want in a derby. He was out to the fans, and I don't know if he said, "I'm the man."
Yeah, with a few expletives.
But he was at that
between.
moment. It was a great strike, great strike.
Yeah, brought them right back into the game. We'll go through that game shortly, but we can't go past this one. This was an absolute peach at the buzzer, as I mentioned. Chris Long with one of the goals of the A-League so far, Thomas.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it came, yes, I said, right at the death. And, you know, Smith is, you know, maybe, you know, he could have died for it, but I think take nothing away from this strike. What a way to win the game. And there was plenty of emotions on the sideline, Valkanis, and, you know, meant a lot to a lot of people. And again, we just got to comment on the Brisbane kit, because I don't know if the Grinch was the kit man of the week, but my God, that
yeah, you're not happy with the colour
coordination.
right?
You know, I love my fashion. That's not fashion.
Right. Well, there we go. Well, we'll go through the celebrations, Brisbane, who are proving very difficult to beat. But we just had to highlight within this goal, Thomas, your man, Dean Bazanis, his feet we've been talking about all season. This might be the assist of the season, without doubt, the goal of Chris Long's.
Yeah, for sure. And I played with Dean for a couple of years, and this is what he's incredibly good at. It might look like a lucky strike, but to me, he sees this. And Adelaide are going to be disappointed because they've got 5 men around Chris Long. You know, as a Kikianis, like he's got to push him back, and he lets him turn, and then you're in trouble. But like Dean Bazanis, you know, this is his bread and butter. He's incredible.
Can I ask you guys, is there a player in the league with better distribution than Dean Bazanis?
And he's in goals.
No. But
honestly,
yeah. The way he strikes the ball, the way he can control it, distance, trajectory, you know, he's one of the best I've seen in a long career.
And just to highlight how good that pass is, if you go back and pause it on the pause frame there, watching at home, you'll see how many plays he took out with that pass to set up a goal in the last minute. Truly incredible. We love going through some comedy on the download, and we found some very funny moments out at Gosford. We might have drawn America in the group, and maybe that's why American mustard is going to be banned out there. But let's just take a look at the weather and the rain. This game was delayed for about an hour here, Thomas. I mean, you expecting this to go ahead?
Yeah, horrific. But again, you see the fans, you know, at least they've got a bit of humour. They've got...
There's the mustard that's been banned out there.
You know, these are iconic, but obviously they had an off day as well. So, you know what, I hope they find some air and pump them up for next week.
Have you ever seen the sauce bottles fail out there?
I have not. I'm more of a Tabasco guy myself.
Okay,
Yeah.
Maybe they need some inflated Tabasco out at Gosford.
More
That
of a
would be
stable
nice.
sauce.
A bit of a spice to the game, but nonetheless, we've got to get cracking on the show. One of the moments of the week, the press conferences, they just continuously deliver this season from all the coaches, but none better than Adam Griffiths. We go through quite a unique segment here, a very spiritual guy. We spoke about his man bun last week. He's got 3 wins on the trot. This might be the press conference of the season. Let's have a look at it.
Probably ask you guys to imagine a sheer cliff 200 metres high and a mountain goat sitting on it. And he's eating some moss, some nutrients. But this mountain goat, he's been there for 25 years. He knows the terrain. He knows every little step that he needs to take. He's seen other mountain goats stepping in these places. Some are falling, some are still going, yeah? So this mountain goat loves being on this mountain. He loves the risk. He loves the decision making. He loves everything about it being on this mountain, right? Now I want you to forget about the mountain goat. Erase it from your memory. Erase it from your grey matter. Delete it. I am a lion. Okay?
He does get pretty serious at the end. I just realised now what's coming the success for this team is he's doing guided meditations before they go. For the players. Close your eyes, boys.
Some chakras. yeah.
And I love one in the media. It's like, yes.
Yeah. Someone dropped themselves and just thought, I better agree here, and said, yes, I understand, you're a lion. That was a pretty unique press conference. I mean, in all seriousness there, Thomas, what's he kind of trying to say, do you think?
You know what? Again, to me, he might try to talk about the hierarchy and, the established teams in the A-League, and, they're the mountain goat. They're used to being on the mountain, and he's the disruptor. He's the lion that's going to eat them all, and I don't know. But it reminds me of, I had a coach in England called Howard Wilkinson at Sunderland, and he pulled us in and showed us this video of flying geese. And how they just distribute, when they fly in formation, and efficiency, and I don't know what message he's trying to send. We were a little bit perplexed. I don't know what the players will get out of this.
You're a philosophical man, Rashid. What's he trying to get through to his players there? Because obviously something's working at the moment for them.
Yeah, no idea. I did do some research on ChatGPT though. Apparently it's called the goat on the cliff and the lion below allegory. You can spend so long adapting to a small, hard life that you forget you were built for something much bigger. Still don't know what that means.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, the one thing that maybe we can dissect that we might understand is whether he should be the coach for the season going forward now, because we know he's under contract, financial constraints. It might make sense for them to keep him. He's got some results on the board. Or is this just a bit of a sugar hit here, Thomas?
I think they can afford to let it roll a little bit. Again, they've changed the results. They look a lot more solid. They played for 50, 60 minutes with 10 men. They fought against a tough Western Sydney side, got the win. So, you know what? Let it roll, and, they can do their yoga and their matches or whatever. As long as it's working. So, you know what? Give him a shot. I like it.
Couldn't agree more, and congratulations to Seb Despotovsky on his first A-League goal in his 7th appearance. A wonderful moment for a very famous family out at Perth Glory. Now, Rashid, we've been talking about the Wanderers over the first few weeks of the season, sort of trying to see whether they have that creative spark that's going to be the difference in games. They went down to 10 men very, very early, or towards half-time, I should say. A long part of the game was played with 10 men against Perth, and they couldn't find a way to get through them. What is going on there? Where are the challenges for Western Sydney?
I mean, from their perspective in the game, sometimes it's harder to play against 10 men, especially if that 10 men makes the other team, if they've already got some confidence that they can get a result out of the game, then it makes everyone then it makes everyone realise, okay, we're not going to get a result here if we play at 60, 70%. We can't go hiding as an individual. We all need to be at 100% now, and I think that's what Perth did. In terms
challenge,
of that tackle on Osler, the second one there, I'm not sure what he was doing, but Simmons caught him out twice in the space of 5 minutes.
In terms of Wanderers, for me, they're probably the team that's underperforming the most out of all the teams in the league. They're sitting at 9th. They probably should be much higher than that. I think I look at the other teams that there's maybe 2 or 3 at least above them that don't have as strong of a squad. So I'm not too worried for them. I don't think it's as bad as it seems at the moment. I think they've got a lot of room to move up in that table.
Yeah, and I think Brendan Morello, I think, even him coming on in this game made a difference. So hopefully, they can get him going, because he started on the bench. Maybe a little bit of tinkering, but I agree with you. I don't think there's that much to be worried about. But again, they need to score. Barbarousse has had a couple of big chances that could have changed the game.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be keeping a close eye on. They had a great performance in the Sydney derby, but dropped off against Perth. Potentially one of the games of the weekend, the Auckland and Wellington, the New Zealand derby that we love speaking about. It's hard to think that this is a derby with Auckland 5-0 up across the scoreline here. We're going to have a look just quickly at one of the decisive moments of the game, a Mandrake James red card. This was a decisive factor here, Rashid.
Yeah, it's definitely a red card. It's a red card. And Cosgrove is just a bit of a menace, isn't he? And he gets into his face. Straight up, he's already given a red card, and he goes into his face to just rub it in a bit. So, and he, 2 penalties later in the game as well. So he's causing trouble for everyone.
That body positioning, Thomas.
It's smart, and it's again you get in that line of the defender, and you know that urgency they have to get back. You just gotta slow up a little bit, and you're gonna get run down. So you know what, he's showing fight and spirit, but he's also showing a bit of smartness.
Well, before we jump into the goals, Rashid, we were watching the last 20-25 minutes. It was some of the most unbelievable football. Tackles were flying in, moments were happening, chances, saves. I mean, just how good was that to watch?
Well, I put it like this. I didn't have any desire to go and doom scroll on Instagram, so that's a good game of football. and one of the best games of A-League football that I have seen in a very long time. Outside of finals, that was incredible.
And that atmosphere
spectacle
that has been created, I think it was 22,000. The microphones were going deaf when they scored the first goal. And, this is what we expect. You just want Wellington to sort of turn up and make it a rivalry, because it is a derby at the moment, but it's not really a rivalry when you've lost 5 in a row.
Well, here we go. Lockie Brook opened his second goal of the season with a wonderful finish, a great cutback there. Auckland taking the lead in the derby once again at home in front of 22,000. And then this was a contentious moment. A Cosgrove missed penalty forced De Vries to step up and take the second, and the rebound he put away, and then they weren't done there after many saves. Cosgrove with a wonderful header, and Guillermo May sealed the deal. Thomas, they're playing Sydney in a few weeks' time. They went atop of the league when this happened, before Sydney won. I mean, are they still the force to be reckoned with in the league? Do you have anyone above them?
Again, I think, Sydney and Auckland, I think are two teams that, it'd be great to watch, because, again, that will give us a measurement of where they are at this moment in time. And, I think they both, I think Sydney have recruited well. They definitely, they lost a few players, where Auckland has been more stable, have kept that core of, and you can see that shine through. There's a great understanding. Corrigan has got them playing well, and that home field advantage that they have in Auckland is huge.
Yeah, very much so. Well, a man that was on the opposite side of the win here, Josh Oluwayemi, tell you what, he put in a great performance. Couldn't have done much more in goals. Thomas, what do you think of this man?
You know what? He's got a very high ceiling. I think we've seen it. There's been a few slip-ups, but in this game, he was awesome, and the team needed him. Just a little bit unlucky with the second penalty, because he obviously saved it firsthand and then more or less got the rebound. So he stood up, and that's what you need in derbies. You need probably a little bit of more of this spirit from Wellington, and we saw Rufer. So hopefully this can sort of spur him on to really step up in these derbies. And you know what, he had a great game, and hopefully he can, continue that over the season.
Well, a team that needs to try and find something in their season is Melbourne Victory, Rashid, because they have gone, the longest they have gone since 2011 without scoring goals. 4 games now without scoring a goal, Melbourne Victory, which is a real talking point for them. Arthur Diles, he's being put under pressure, potentially rightly so, maybe unfairly, but he's got to do something. From your point of view, what are the things that they need to look at here?
Obviously, recruitment is an important part. Everyone's talking about a striker. I think they need some life as well. Mashash, he was a great player, but he was also just gave so much energy to the game that I think they're missing. There's a lot of good players in there. Valadon, even Juan Mata is obviously a great player. Jing Reese works hard, but all of them are they're very quiet. They're very quiet players. Valupale gives a bit of life, but he's in and out of the team at the moment.
They need a team night out or something, maybe. Yeah, to get on the Terps together and feel like maybe, hey, we all like each other.
Yeah, potentially. I do have some crazy stats here, though.
Let's go through
to not just highlight everything on Arthur Diles, all right? So since 2019, I'll work from there up until present day, where they finished on the ladder.
Yep.
10th, 12th, 2nd, 11th, 3rd, 5th, and currently 12th. So an average of all those finishes is 8th place.
Right.
Since 2019.
So they've struggled since COVID. Yeah,
since COVID, yeah.
What are we putting that down to? Obviously, the impact of the financial status across clubs. They're attracting. So they used to be able to attract some of these big players, even Aussie players at a peak that maybe they're not doing as much now. But even so, with what Arthur Diles has, they've got to try to do something, whether it's a formation change. Thomas, we spoke of whether they go to 2 up front before in the break.
Yeah, you know what? I think Valupale, needs to provide a spark. He had a chance in the game on Friday and didn't convert late on. I would play him alongside Vergas. Try to get some life into him. He's a visa player. He needs to step up. and Mata in behind. I just feel, that is there enough from the manager? Diles, I saw the interview afterwards. It felt like he was trying to force it. That I'm angry and we fought and we're going to fight and so it'd be interesting to see that he has to. I agree. Has to put some life into this team.
Yeah.
One way or the other. Is it a night out? Going out with the SAS and do some life, whatever survival skills or something. But anything that can just give them that win, because Adelaide coming up at home. It's going to be massive.
Yeah, well, before we just jump off them into the next topic, Rashid, if you were to channel your inner Adam Griffiths and your spiritual side, what would you be doing with the Victory boys here? Just to get their chakras going, maybe to get some motors moving, to get some results?
I think sometimes it's as simple as getting people to smash people at training.
Just getting stuck in.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's as simple as that. Obviously, there's more complexities to the problems of Melbourne Victory as a whole at the moment.
Yeah.
But sometimes bringing life into the team is as simple as bringing life into the training session.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's happening at the moment. Doesn't look like it on the weekends.
No, fair enough. Well, a bit of a sad moment in the Ninja A-Leagues. A lady that's got over 130 caps for the Matildas, Tameka Yallop, she had an unfortunate moment across Adelaide in their 3-1 win. Thomas, you've done a hamstring before. This was her second in the space of, within this year. She was heartbroken with this one.
Yeah, of course. And she's in her mid-30s. You've got the Asia Cup coming up in March. And I think on the back of having a hamstring and then a reoccurring one, it could be along, depending on what grade it is, that might put her Asia Cup in doubt. And of course, that's going to, late in your career when you want those moments to finish off, and she might now have to, pull everything out to get there.
Rashid, just as a player who goes through that, when you have injuries and you have big moments on the horizon, I mean, that's probably the reason why she was breaking down. But, I mean, how do you handle that? Can you give some insight into what that's like for a player?
She probably knows more than me, to be honest. She's got over 130 Matildas caps, and I was never in contention to go to an Asia Cup. So I think all she can do is, like Naboo said the other day, get into the gym first thing on Monday morning and just go through the paces, take each day at a time, and just believe that she's going to get there.
Yeah, very much so. Well, we spoke of Chris Long and his goal across the game against Adelaide. What a finish it was, might I add, as we saw. But this is just building, something is building at Brisbane. The inspiration, the fight, the emotion. Well, we've got to have a look at Michael Valkanis because, Thomas, this was incredible. They're all going everywhere. He's punching up. He's fired up.
Yeah, and I love it. This is what we want to see. We want to see passion. And obviously there's a history. He spent 15 years at Adelaide. And he obviously speaks Spanish as well, which is fantastic. So there's a lot to learn and admire here. And these last, like you've played, and to win in the last moment, that's the best feeling you can have in football. So yeah. I understand it, 100%.
I'll be honest, Adelaide, I didn't know Mickey Valkanis and you guys had beef. All of a sudden he's running to the crowd, giving you these ones, you're giving him booze at the end. I missed something here.
And the look he had when he was walking, it looked like he was just looking for someone to kill.
He looked like an assassin on the loose.
I would love a professional lip reader to work out what his small words were before he went off the camera at the end there.
Yeah.
Let's call him Valkanis the Great from now on.
Yeah. Well, Rashid, that's a spin-off on his press conference a few weeks ago. But we spoke about Melbourne Victory having that edge, that fight. Brisbane Roar, they're getting 5-6 red cards every week. I mean, some you could be dubious in saying some challenges are red cards. They're in fights every week. They are proving very difficult to beat. I mean, it must be a good side to play in when you're seeing that camaraderie there.
Yeah, they look like they're gelling. They look like there's a big connection between what the coach is telling them to do and what they're doing on the park. It looks like they're very similar.
Yeah, and I think Valkanis, what he did, he created a common purpose from the start. It's like us against the world. We're trying to prove it, and we're going to do it our way. And that has united the squad, and you can see it. Like everyone's pulling 100%.
I wonder if the refs start pulling them up a little bit more, if it becomes harder for them to get results. But if they continue like this, they're a hard team to beat. Yeah.
Roos needs to look over his shoulder. He can't keep putting in some of those challenges.
Yeah, definitely. Well, kudos to Brisbane. They are right up the top of the ladder with their performances and their fight and spirit. It's going to be great to watch them going forward. But it was a very big moment across the country through the week. As you would have seen, the Australia were drawn with the USA, Paraguay and a European team still to be coming into the World Cup. A massive moment, really, when we think about it, we're going to be playing the European nation out in Vancouver. We're going to have the USA, the home nation, in Seattle, which is going to be an absolute blockbuster. And then Paraguay is going to be finished in San Francisco. Rashid, I'll go to you first. What do you think about the group from an Australian standpoint?
Oh, the USA, that's a layup.
What, for the US or
For us.
Hey, now,
That's easy.
I would love that.
That's too easy.
for those at home, I'll tell you what, the USA media, they are going through. They literally said, someone asked Mike Greller, a former MLS winger on ESPN, I think it was, what do you think getting Australia in the USA World Cup group? He goes, that's a layup. So they're very satisfied.
I can't even say it on here. Sums them up, doesn't it? I hope we absolutely smash them.
Is it a tougher group, though, than maybe the Australian public is perceiving? I know it's as good as maybe we could have got, but it's still going to be difficult,
but
right?
again, the home nation is always a wild card. You know, we see sort of like Qatar fumbled it a little bit, but we saw South Korea. Sometimes if they get a bit of momentum, you know the Americans are like how they're going to pump it up. You know, potentially you could get Turkey. I wouldn't.
Yeah, well, it's Romania, Turkey, Slovakia, or Kosovo.
So Slovakia beat Germany as well in the qualifiers, and you know, Germany just managed to scrape through. So that'll be a tough test. And then Paraguay, they've never beaten a South American team. They played Peru and Chile. So again, it's not an easy group, but again, you would be happy. You would fancy yourself in every single game, and that's what you want.
Yeah, well, if we look across the ditch as well, this might be a group of death here. New Zealand have been drawn with Iran, Belgium, and Egypt. I mean, Rashid, it doesn't get much more difficult than that.
Yeah, we've definitely got the lucky draw out of the two, Australia and New Zealand. That's going to be a very hard group to get out of for them. I think just going back to Socceroos, if you're going to play a South American team, Paraguay is probably the one that you would pick out of all of them. But yeah, the Iran and Egypt teams, they're going to be just an absolute nightmare to play against, and Belgium, they speak for themselves, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Well, former Sunderland, Aston Villa and Stoke goalkeeper Thomas Sorensen, if you didn't know, went to 2 World Cups, 2002 in Korea, Japan, and also the 2010 South Africa World Cup. Thomas, the World Cup starts now, really. Once the group's drawn, the preparation behind the scenes from the staff. We'll go through your experiences briefly, but what do you know that the Football Australia, the Socceroos, Tony Popovich will be doing now in order to be prepared for the tournament?
Yeah, it's all about obviously giving yourself the best possible logistics when you're there. So again, you want a training ground or a training base that's reasonably close, so you don't want too many travel days and long flights. And again, I think that's where America is great. There's so many colleges with superb facilities, so it should be pretty easy. And then, yeah, just finding somewhere that accommodates the squad and where you have activities that you can do, because the World Cup being away for 3-4 weeks, hopefully for the Socceroos, you need things to distract you, and you need things around that some players like to play golf, tennis, paddle, table tennis. So you need those things in place as well. So there's so many. It's not just the training pitch; it's everything around it that matters.
When you were going, Tom, was there friends and family access at that time, or what, secluded?
It was pretty restricted. We had sort of a day or two where we could see a family. They'll drop in and. But that's a whole nother thing, because there'll be, wives going, girlfriends going, officials from the FA, and they might have a total separate trip that goes on next to it. They need to go to the game. So this is huge, for the people that are organising. I don't want to be in those shoes.
Well, just from your own experiences, any special World Cup memories you can share from either South Africa or Korea, Japan? Because they're pretty unique tournaments.
Yeah, no, it was both special. In South Korea, where we were stationed in the middle of the rice field, they had actually built a hotel just. So I don't know if it's still being used, but there was rice fields, 2 pitches, and us, and
okay, wow.
Yeah, so that was pretty unique, and in we actually stayed close to France in Nice, and down in the south, in South Africa, and that's where the French had a riot, and we were sort of sitting across town. We could more or less sit with our binoculars to see them infight, and
wow.
I think there was revolt against the manager at that time, and these things, there's a lot of things that goes on, and some squads handle it, other squads struggle.
And this one, it's got to be more than ever.
Oh yeah.
Any other World Cup, this could be chaos.
Yeah, it is going to be chaos. Yeah. Well, that's all from us at the Download. Rashid, thank you for coming back on, mate. Just quickly, the weekend results. Are you surprised by anything? Is it the league going where you see it? Sydney on top, Obviously, Perth starting to come back up the ladder. The bottom, Newcastle there. Anything you'd shake up that you see could happen?
Well, I did pick Melbourne Victory at the start of the year to be top of the ladder, so that's a bit of blindside. But I did think Sydney would be up there, also Auckland. Brisbane's probably a surprise to me, to be honest,
Yeah.
but a pleasant surprise.
And Thomas, you're Melbourne City. Are people sleeping on them still a little bit just with their injuries, and they're still grafting results as we saw at Newcastle?
I see this time for Melbourne City as a little bit like they've just got to get through because they've got Asia Cup, or Asian Champions League, I think, again this week, and they're travelling to South Korea. So I think it's just keeping momentum, a good win at Newcastle, and then when you get into the new year, that's where hopefully they'll get Lecky and everyone back and they can challenge.
Well, boys, thank you as always. We'll see, for everyone at home, we'll see what press conferences are delivering over the next few weeks. That was all from us at the A-League's Download, presented by Isuzu Ute. We'll see you next week.